to another episode of Auditory Odyssey, your one-stop shop for all things music talk, from death metal to Disney and blast beats to ballads. We've got you covered. I'm your host, Brennan, and today we're not just crossing genres, but full-on crossing dimensions. So buckle up your seatbelts and tune into your inner goblin as we prepare to dive into the utterly unique universe of cellist, composer, and musical imp Rushad Eggleston. To understand Rushad, we're going to have to go back to his roots. Rushad was born in 1979 in a redwood cabin in Big Sur, California, outside of the redwood forests. And his early life was just as enchanted as the music he would later create. His mother was a Parsi woman from Mumbai, and his father later renamed himself to Rabun. Together they fostered a home where creativity was just as natural as breathing. From the age of 3, Rushad was already plucking at stringed instruments, and by his teens he was a member of the Youth Music Monterey Orchestra, but even then the cello was more than just an instrument to him. It was more of a portal. After graduating from Carmel High School, he won a full scholarship to Berklee College of Music, and becoming the first stringed player to do so. There, under the mentorship of Eugene Friesen, he began to blend classical rigor with a wild improvisational spirit. But let's be very clear, Rushad was never going to be just another classical cellist. Even as he mastered Bach, he was dreaming up goblins, inventing languages, and plotting a musical revolution. As he once said, "I've always been a goblin. I've always been weird. I've always made up words." So what does Rushad Eggleston's signature sound like? Well, imagine a cello that's broken free from the orchestra pit, sprinted through a bluegrass festival, tumbled into a jazz club, and then leapt into a fantasy novel, and that's Rushad. His style is a kaleidoscope of bluegrass, jazz, rock, folk, and something he calls sneth, which is his own invented genre and world. He's a pioneer in percussive cello, chopping, a technique that transforms the cello into a rhythm machine. And he's known for standing, dancing, and even climbing on stage structures while playing. Rushad's approach to cello is both technical and anarchic. He's mastered classical tone, but he's just as likely to wash off the classical sound in favor of a more raw rhythm and improvisation. As he once explained in an interview, classical music is based on tone over rhythm. In traditional music, you can be a little bit out of tune and it's alright, but the rhythm has still got to be there. He's also an innovator. He's created techniques like the upward triplet chop, which is a bowing move that creates 3 articulated chops in a single up bow motion. These techniques have inspired generations of cellists to break free from tradition and explore new musical frontiers. Rushad's music isn't just about technique, it's about joy, chaos, and the freedom to, quote, sound bad on purpose. If it serves a story, you can bet Rushad's gonna do it. Here's a little clip from Rushad's personal YouTube of him being himself, performing a piece called Bunjukius Tanto.
Bunjukius Tanto, Bunjukius Tanto, Bunjukius Tanto. Chuck, 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 Joe. Chuck, 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 Bunjukius Tanto, Bunjukius Tanto, Bunjukius Tanto, yeah. Bunjuk, 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 East Tanto. Chuck bun, buddy Bunjukius Tanto, Bunjukius Tanto, Bunjukius Tanto. East, Bunjukius Tanto.
Hopefully that piece there kind of describes Rushad just a little bit for you so you can kind of get a picture of who Rushad is. So if you've ever wandered down the path that is progressive bluegrass, then you've probably encountered a band called Crooked Still. They were from 2001 to 2007 and really helped redefine what string music could be. At the heart of their sound was Rushad Eggleston. And Crooked Still was formed in Boston with vocalist Aoife O'Donovan, banjo player Gregory List, and bassist Corey DeMario, and Rushad on cello. Their debut album was Hop High in 2004, and it was followed up by Shaken by a Low Sound in 2006, and they're now considered landmarks in the genre. Rushad's cello didn't just provide the bass lines, it danced, chopped, and soared. As you listen to tracks such as Shady Grove or Lonesome Road, you'll hear the cello both as a rhythm and a melody, and sometimes even as a lead voice. His percussive style and improvisational flair gave Crooked Still a sound that was both rooted and revolutionary. But Rushad's time with Crooked Still was still just the beginning. In 2007, he left the band to pursue new musical adventures, making way for a new lineup, but leaving an indelible mark on the bluegrass world. And here's a little snippet of Crooked Still performing Shady Grove with Rushad at the Sinclair in December of 2019. She's a darling of my heart, stealing the sun goes down. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Harlem. First time I saw Shady Grove, she said, after Crooked Still, Rushad didn't just go solo, he went full-on interdimensional. His solo career is a journey through the land of Sneth, a fantastical universe of his own invention, populated by goblins, jesters, and creatures with names like Rushadicus, or Rusta Benusta Bedusta Bashad. His first major solo album, the Rushad Eggleston Show in 2013, is a broadcast from this world. It's a mix of magical songs, poems, and instrumentals that defy categorization. Tracks like the Cross-Tune Cello Suite showcase his technical mastery, while others like Mr. McFoob or Zarf Weasels plunge listeners into his more playful absurdity. Rushad's solo performances are known for their unpredictability. He straps on his cello, dons a jester costume, and launches into a set that might include virtuosic instrumentals, operatic goblin songs, and spontaneous poetry in his invented language. He's been known to climb on tables, flagpoles, and even his own cello mid-performance, transforming each show into a vejectment, which is a word of his own lexicon meaning a magical event. He's brought the land of Sneth to audiences around the world, from Australia to Lithuania, building a global network of fans who really revel in his joyful chaos. The best way to describe Rushad and Sneth is to kind of let him do it himself, so here's a little snippet from a Beehive Productions piece called Ear to the Ground.
Hi, I'm Rushad Eggleston, and this is my cello, El Cello Cabra del Norforbulones, better known as a cello-shaped spaceship, which I use to take people on some pretty wild journeys. What happened is my parents named me Rushad, R-U-S-H-A-D, which means joyful soul. That makes my mission on Earth to spread joy through music and language and fun.
Yapping, scrapping, $4 a flapping, a jink, queenies. Fear goat, Mars, no, bullpox, a clothes, smoke, fur, bed, Glen, grannies. Now fuck you indoor, Ep.4, plummux, and fuck the rummux. Episystic way, hopeful, fostic way of a victive way, on the stay work, lock fine, begrats, died, or blow, la muffy right, chai a popping into way, fuffling up, getting, sprinkling, dwince of these partle, a martle, daddling, raws, a push it, go, push up the paws, grimmy, arcs, Patrick of way, no number ray,
Now take Rushad's cello, plug it into an amp, and add a rock rhythm section. Now you've got the band Tornado Rider, which was a power trio formed by Rushad in 2008. Tornado Rider is what you might call frogs playing metal. They're a high-energy, genre-bending band whose songs are catchy anthems about animals, surreal adventures, and the joys of absurdity. Their debut album in 2009, called Do You Have Time, features tracks like Bison Land, Friendly Bunny, and Mountain Jumper, each one a wild ride through Rushad's imagination. Live performances of Tornado Rider are a spectacle. Rushad can be seen crowd surfing, climbing stage scaffolding, and leading the audience in chants about bison and golden apples. The band's fans, especially in the southeastern United States, are known for their devotion, and Tornado Rider occasionally reunites for music festival appearances, keeping the legend alive. Here's a clip of Tornado Rider performing their song called Bison Land live at the Whiskey A Go-Go in 2009.
1, 2, 3, 4. I think you would, I think it's you, I don't know what you ever do, but think about it.
tumbled down the rabbit hole that is Rushad's alter egos, and the world building that sets him apart from any other musician. Rushad often performs as Rushadicus, or the cello goblin, and a host of other names invented by him. He's self-proclaimed as the ambassador of Sneth, a wizard in training, and a bard from a land where language, music, and magic are inseparable. His invented language, Sneth, is more than just gibberish. It's a living, evolving tongue that he uses in songs, poems, and stage banter. Audiences are swept into his world, learning words like jik, which is a kind of goblin energy, and vajikment, or a magical show. As Rushad puts it, when people are in disbelief, they get to leave the mundaneness of life and go into an alternative chaotic goblin reality, which is sometimes kind of happy. His performances are deeply interactive, whether he's leading a battle between himself and Bach or rattling off a three-page poem of self-fashioned words. Rushad invites the audience to become co-conspirators in his musical mischief. He isn't just a performer, he's a full-on movement. His influence on experimental string music is profound and far-reaching. Before Rushad, the cello was largely confined to classical and orchestral roles, but throughout his work with Crooked Still, Fiddler's Four, Tornado Rider, and as a solo artist, he's shown that the cello can be a lead instrument, a rhythm section, or even a vehicle for wild improvisation. He can be credited with single-handedly inventing bluegrass cello, and sparking a revival of the instrument in roots music. Techniques like chopping, strumming, and even standing while playing, which was once unheard of, are now a standard in progressive string bands, thanks in large part to Rushad's example. Cellists like Mike Block cite Rushad as a primary inspiration, especially for rhythmic playing and the freedom to stand and move with the instrument. As Block recalls, Rushad has been a big inspiration for me to find a personal artistic voice, particularly in songwriting. He's a pioneer in rhythmic cello playing, and so I've learned a lot of chopping techniques from him that have become a fundamental part of me playing. Mike Block has been known to play alongside Yo-Yo Ma. He's played with Bobby McFerrin, Shakira, like a bunch of notable artists. He's a very well-known cellist. Rushad's workshops and teaching camps like Mark O'Connor's Fiddle Camp, Mike Block String Camp, and Maine Fiddle Camp have introduced hundreds of young musicians to new ways of thinking about their instrument. Beyond the stage, Rushad is a passionate teacher and mentor. He's also guest lectured at colleges and universities such as Berkeley, Cornish, Bates, Oberlin, and he wasn't just sharing technique, but also a philosophy of music as play, exploration, and self-discovery. His teaching style is just as unconventional as his performances. He encourages students to unleash their wild internal cello monster, to improvise, to invent, and embrace the possibility of sounding bad on purpose as a path of authenticity. His workshops often include exercises in chopping, strumming, and groove-oriented improvisation, as well as lessons in stagecraft, storytelling, and even invented language. As he says himself, the message I try to spread to the world is joy. Rushad Eggleston's work has been met with both awe and bewilderment by critics and audiences alike. He's been called a mad scientist, a musical genius, and a soulful jester of the modern times. The Boston Globe described him as a pioneer, noting his role in bringing cello to the forefront of roots music. The Good Times called him a rowdy mystic, and his manager Ryan Masters simply calls him a legit musical genius. His performances have been featured at renowned venues, including the Carnegie Hall, and festivals across the United States and abroad. He's appeared in television commercials, movie soundtracks, and hundreds of studio recordings, and his own viral videos. Each album is a window into a different world. Sometimes playful, sometimes profound, but always inventive. Whether he's channeling bluegrass, metal, or straight goblin energy, Rushad's discography is a testament to the power of musical imagination. At the heart of Rushad's artistry is a philosophy of joy, authenticity, and creative freedom. He describes himself as the one who is joyous, and his mission is to facilitate global bejikment and glee. He's a vegan, known to sing about his love of tofu, and he often weaves messages of kindness, playfulness, and acceptance into his performances. As he once shared in a TEDx talk, the world is full of infinite possibilities, and music is a way to explore them all. He encourages everyone, musicians and non-musicians alike, to embrace their inner imp and make the impossible possible, find the magic in the mundane. His invented worlds and languages are invitations to play, imagine, and connect. Lately, Rushad has been up to a little bit of everything, everywhere, all at once. Since 2017, he's performed primarily as Rushad, bringing his one-man immersive improvisational show to venues across the United States and abroad. His recent tours have included stops at art galleries, music halls, and festivals, where he continues to blend his experimental cello metal with mystical goblin stunts and non-stop jicking. In 2023, he released Romeo Loses Again, which is an album born from his personal heartbreak and creative catharsis. The songs are raw, emotional, and deeply human, proof that even goblins have tender sides. He's also very active online, sharing videos, live streams, and new music with his global fan base. His performances are as unpredictable as ever, sometimes climbing trees, sometimes serenading audiences with kazoo solos, but always pushing the boundary of what music can be. If you want to experience the full magic of Rushad Eggleston, you have to see him in action. His YouTube channel is a treasure trove of performances, from the mini-documentary Ear to the Ground to wild live sets at festivals and radio stations. Some of his highlights include I Peed on a Bird, the cross-tuned cello suite, and Rushad Eggleston at the WTJU. As we come to an end on this magical journey, let's reflect on what makes Rushad Eggleston such a singular force in music. He's a virtuoso who refuses to be boxed in, a composer who invents worlds, a teacher who inspires others to break the rules, and a performer who turns every show into an adventure. His legacy is not just in the notes he plays, but in the joy, wonder, and wild possibility that he brings to everyone he meets. So whether you're a cellist, a goblin, or just someone looking for a little bit more magic in your life, I think we can all take a page from Rushad's book. Climb a tree, invent a word, play a song that's never been heard before. The land of Sneth is open to all who dare to dream.
For fuffle a bunt, a playful and a for shops, a peppery gunt, a tupply twerp, you nerp, a lurp, la boogity low, a gipply gank you wake, and eve narp, tape you like, gipply gank you wake, jackety backety boo, a gipply gank you wake, and eve narp, tape you like, a gipply gank you wake, jackety backety boo.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Auditory Odyssey and this deep dive into the world of Sneth with Rushad Eggleston. You can stream Auditory Odyssey on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, and YouTube. I'm Brennan, and until next time, keep your ears open, your heart playful, and your spirit a little bit more goblin. Peace out.